Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Fun little show today. What we're going to talk about today are your vices, the things that you do that you probably make excuses for that are really destroying your health. And years ago, I used to date a girl, and she had a great line. She said, moderation is for monks. You want an extreme life. And when I come to extreme life, what I'm talking about is extreme health. And I don't want moderate health. I want extreme health. And so a couple of things that you do, and I hear this all the time in my practices, patients say, well, Dr. Joe, I just whatever, blank. You know, sometimes when I'm at a party, if it's a holiday, if I'm stressed at work, I get that one a lot too. You know, Friday night when I get home from work, I'm exhausted, so I have to do something to relax. And many times wine is the one that fits into that vice. But I don't know about moderate health. I'm not sure I'm okay with moderate health. I want extreme health. And so we're going to talk about some of the things that you're doing all day, every day that are having adverse effects on your health and what you can do to fix it. Because one thing, if you listened to the show before, you know, I don't just give you problems, I give you solutions. And it's fun because you'll listen to, I don't know, one show, 100 show, 1,000 shows, and you'll say, you know, I picked up this little hint here. I picked up this little hint here. And it's wonderful because patients come in our offices every day and they tell me that. You know, I've been listening to you for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And I remember you said at such and such a time this. We talk about acid reflux. We talk about headaches. We talk about pain management. And I started doing that. You know, Doc, I love this one. You were right. Of course I was right. I'm not making these things up. I'm giving you information that you need to get well and stay well. What you do with that information is totally up to you. And that's the challenge I run into, is I want people to listen. And I know that if you just did it, you'd be happy with the results. Anybody ever raised children? Raise your hands. A lot of you, right? Yeah. And you think, gosh, if the kid would just listen to me, they wouldn't have the problems that they're having. Because I'm experienced and I did all these stupid things, and I don't want you doing those stupid things, right? Say it with me. I know you do. Well, that's how I feel when it comes to patients. I know that if you did certain things, you would get these results. How often? Usually 100% of the time. Say 99% of the time. And I know it works. You just have to do it. So I'll tell patients too. I'll say, listen, do what I say. If I'm wrong, so what? I'm wrong. But if I'm right, which I am, then you'll want to follow my advice forever. And then inevitably the patient does follow my advice and they say you were right, and it's wonderful. So let's just talk about some things that are in the news and why you got to be careful where you get your news from, because sometimes it can be a little misleading. And there's an interesting study that came out not long ago, and the title of the study is 3 cups of coffee a day is the sweet spot for health. A review of more than 200 studies finds that drinking coffee is associated with lower risk of death and heart disease in addition to other health benefits. So you read that, you read the title, and you say, wow, coffee good. I'm going to continue drinking my coffee. I've made the right decision. This is a great thing. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this study, I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to say that they're right or wrong. I'm just going to tell you what they didn't report on. Now, what was it? Right now, the rest of the story. So, okay, French fries, we know are bad. Sugar's bad, right? Alcohol's bad. We know about that. But suddenly there's this article out that according to this study, coffee gets a green light unless, I love this one, unless you're pregnant or have a risk of fracture or osteoporosis. Now, who is not at risk of osteoporosis? No one. Everyone can get osteoporosis, men and women, usually women more than men. But they're saying, you know, if you're high risk, yeah, you shouldn't drink coffee, but if you're low risk, don't worry about it. What do you think makes you high risk to get osteoporosis? One of the things is drinking too much coffee. Because coffee's an acid. And they are what I call the 7 deadly sins of nutrition: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. I know your whole diet, right? But those 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, one of the reasons they're all bad, you know, and they all have this in common, is that they form acid. It's called an acid ash. Now, when you burn wood, what's left over is the ash. Well, when you eat food, what's left over is the ash. So it leaves an acid ash. And when you put acid into the body has to neutralize the acid. Well, the body uses calcium as one of its primary neutralizing agents. So if you're low risk, you're a football player, you're 16 years old, you're a male, you have great muscle strength, Very low risk of osteoporosis. However, if you go on a high acid lifestyle, which a lot of people do, you will be depleting your body of minerals. You have to, because the body has to neutralize the acid, or else you go into acidosis and then you die. Not a good place to be. So what happens is you're not eating the acid foods. You're in good shape. You are eating the acid foods. Your body's leaching the calcium from the bones. Eventually the bones become weak, and now you're into that high risk of osteoporosis. So first of all, I had to laugh at that comment, that unless you're at high risk. So you're sucking minerals, especially calcium, out of your bones. Not a place you want to be. So not a good thing. Consumption was associated with lower risk of specific cancers, including prostate, endometrial, melanoma, non-melanoma skin cancer, and liver cancer. So by drinking the coffee, according to this study, you lowered your risk of cancer. I won't argue with that point. Consumption is also beneficial associations with metabolic conditions, including type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, gallstones, gout, renal stones, and liver conditions like hepatic fibrosis, cirrhosis mortality, which means you die from it. And finally, there seems to be an association between coffee consumption and Parkinson's disease, depression, and Alzheimer's. So here they are saying, here's all the good news about coffee. Okay, I won't even argue those points. I didn't do the study. I don't know how they did the study. I don't have all the research on that. Did they use healthy people? Did they use sick people? Did they use people at a low risk to begin with? I don't know. Let's assume they're absolutely right on all of that. They found the biggest reduction of relative risk of death was the sweet spot of 3 cups of coffee a day compared to non-coffee drinkers. Bumping that up to 4 has not found any significant increase or increase in the benefit. So 3 cups was the sweet spot. All right. I won't argue with that either. Now, what didn't they cover? Is the downside worth the upside? Assuming all that upside is right, my feeling is no. We talked about the acid. When you put acid in your body has to neutralize the acid, and the body uses calcium as one of its primary neutralizing agents. So it's sucking calcium out of the bones to neutralize the acid. Now, is calcium only in bones? Well, no. You need calcium to relax muscles. You need calcium to buffer the blood. You need calcium for a lot of different things. We just associate it with the bones. But there's a lot more that your body needs calcium for. So you're depleting your body of calcium. And this is the kicker. If you're a coffee drinker, chances are it's not your only vice. If you're a coffee drinker, you might be eating or indulging in the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. So now we're looking at other lifestyle issues. You have to not just give up the coffee, you have to change a lot of things. It's highly sprayed with chemicals. Coffee beans, unless they're organic, are highly sprayed with chemicals. And those chemicals are now being brewed, if you will, into your coffee, and you're drinking and eating them. And that can cause problems. And a lot of the chemicals that we use as pesticides and herbicides, pesticides kill bugs, herbicides kill weeds, are endocrine disruptors. What does that mean? Well, your endocrine system, your hormone system, can be affected, and it acts like estrogen. It acts like you're putting estrogen in your body. And the body has to now react to this estrogen, because estrogen is a very potent hormone, and it tells the body what to do. And one of the things these estrogen-like compounds tell the body to do is abnormal cell growth. And if you have abnormal cell growth, what do we call that? Well, cancer. Exactly. So endocrine disruptors, I believe, and a lot of research is agreeing with me, is now causing our cancer. Remember, was it President Kennedy started the fight on cancer? How are we doing on that? Not too good. People still dying of cancer every day. So that's since 61, 62, somewhere in there, when Kennedy started the war on cancer. Well, it's not working out so well, because we're really not winning that war. And if I go off on a tangent here, I go nuts when I see fundraisers for cancer research. And we're going to have a bake sale for cancer research. How insane is that? What's one of the drivers of cancer? Cancer cells love sugar. So you're selling sugar to help prevent cancer. And I don't want to be a cynic, which sometimes I am, but what is that, like job security? I'm going to make sure that people have enough sugar so that we can continue to feed the cancer cells. Doesn't make me very happy. We all know, I don't think there's anyone out there that in the research world that would say, eating good food is one of the ways we help prevent cancer. Nutrition has a direct link to cancer. So why are we selling junk food? Why are we having a steak dinner with open bar to raise money for cancer research? Well, here's your money. Take your money, and here's my research. Don't drink alcohol and eat meat. There, I just saved you a ton of research money because I'm going to give you the money anyway, and I don't want you to get cancer. But if you get cancer, I guess then you become part of the system. Now, I don't think it's malicious. I don't think that there's some big conspiracy out there that people are sitting around smoking cigars going, how can we kill more people? I know, we'll have a cigar, we'll have a open bar and steaks. I don't think that's happening because I don't think the doctors want to get cancer either. But we all know that a plant-based diet is an excellent way to help ward off cancer. Is it the only way? No. Is it going to prevent all cancer? No. Is it going to statistically increase your odds of being healthy for the rest of your life? Absolutely yes. So here we are saying if you drink coffee, that can help prevent certain types of cancer, but now you're putting a lot of chemicals into your body which can affect the hormone levels. Caffeine. Why do we drink coffee anyway? It has caffeine in it. Well, caffeine looks like a chemical in your brain called adenosine. And when adenosine is released in your brain, it gets absorbed into your brain and it makes you tired. So, okay, I've worked hard all day. My brain releases adenosine. Adenosine receptor sites absorb the adenosine and I get tired. And that's perfectly normal. That's what's supposed to happen. Well, caffeine looks like adenosine and it blocks up the adenosine receptor sites. When it blocks up the adenosine receptor sites, you don't get tired. So coffee doesn't really give you energy. It prevents you from getting tired. Does it make sense? Say yes. Good. Okay. So it's preventing you from getting tired. So then your body says, no, wait a minute, Joe. I have to rest. So I'm going to produce more adenosine receptor sites so I can absorb more adenosine so I can get more tired. And what happens then? You drink more coffee, increasing your acid levels and increasing the amount of chemicals that you sprayed on your body. Also, caffeine stresses your adrenal glands. Now, the adrenal glands produce adrenaline, which gives you energy. They produce prostaglandins, which help with inflammation. And they produce something called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone becomes DHEA, and DHEA becomes your sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. If you're under stress, how many of you are drinking coffee when you're under stress? Most of you. It doesn't produce more sex hormones. It produces something called cortisol. Cortisol causes you to lay down fat. Cortisol makes you weak. Cortisol is your stress hormone. So you see all this? You're stressing out your adrenals, which is now causing other health problems. And as a chiropractor, my big concern is reduction in pain, increasing nerve function, or normalizing nerve function, I should say, and reducing inflammation. So if you're drinking coffee, it's an acid, which can cause inflammation, and it can affect your prostaglandin production, which can prevent you from reducing inflammation, and now you're fighting with me. You come in and see my team of doctors and I, and you're fighting with us because you're doing things that are contrary to what we're trying to do, which is open up the pinched nerves, relieve your pain, get the organs working properly, and reduce inflammation. So you read the study and went, wait a minute, it helps reduce pancreatic cancer. Whoa, that's great. I'm going to drink more coffee. Well, what about everything else in your body? And again, as a chiropractor, I worry about these things. Because when you come in to see us in our offices, or if we just do nutrition work over the phone, or if you just listen to my shows, I want to give you all the tools you need to get well and stay well. And if you're doing things that are counterproductive to what we're trying to do, I get frustrated. And you get frustrated. And then worse is, you say, well, I went to the chiropractor and it didn't help. Did you do everything the doctor said? Or any doctor, it doesn't matter, chiropractor, medical doctor, neurosurgeon. Did you do everything they said? No. Okay. So why don't you try doing everything they say and see what happens? Because again, as your doctor, if I am your doctor, or my team of doctors are your doctors, I don't see all the patients, is we want to get the pain reduced. I want to get the inflammation reduced. I want to get you healthy. I want you eating the foods that are going to help you live longer. I want your brain to work the best it possibly can. Gee, that sounds like a plan, doesn't it? A healthcare plan, as opposed to what most people have is just insurance, but they don't actually have a plan to get well and stay well. So something as simple as cutting back or cutting out your coffee is going to be a key player. It's a piece in the puzzle. Is it going to solve all the problems? No. Is it going to start solving the problems? Yes. And the tough part, in my first book, Eating Right for the Health of It, I talk about kicking the habit. If you're on coffee and you're addicted to it, what you need to do is start cutting back. And the secret I give you in that book, you should buy the book, by the way, but if you don't, there's a chapter called Kicking the Habit. Get a cup of coffee, sit it in front of you, and I'm going to tell you what kind of coffee in just a second. You know, regular coffee is not good for you. I'm going to negotiate with you in just a second, so hang on. Take a tablespoon of black coffee every hour. That's going to give you just enough caffeine to help prevent the headaches and help you get over the crash. Because again, I want to get you well and keep you well. So folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, and plan on opening a few more very soon. If you'd like to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll get you set up as soon as possible. We accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. We accept anyone. And we have payment plans for everyone. Because some of you have $6,000 deductibles and $100 copays. So you know what? You don't have insurance. You'll have it, but you can't use it anyway. So it's ridiculous that some people say, well, my insurance is... I understand that. However, let's get the numbers. Let's look at the real numbers. I had a doctor one time that worked with me, and he gave me some good information. He said, information without emotion. Give me the information, and then let's analyze it. So remember that phrase, information without emotion. But if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, if you've ever been in a car accident, ever, if the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. So go to my website, make your appointment right now, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. We're the #1 Dr. Joe in the world. We're going to get you set up in Marietta. We have offices Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We want to get you well and keep you well. Stop suffering needlessly. So more thoughts on coffee. Coffee stresses the adrenals. It's sprayed with chemicals. It's also diuretic. What does a diuretic mean? It makes you pee. Do you ever notice how you drink coffee, you got to go pee, drink coffee, you got to go to the bathroom, have bowel function? Because it's an acid, and the acid can irritate your bowels and cause the bowels to release. I'm not sure that's the best way to get the bowels to release. But also is a diuretic and dehydrates you. So when you're dehydrated, this is the irony, you get tired. So when you get tired, what do you want to do? Drink more coffee to give you energy, which it doesn't give you energy. It robs the body of energy. And so now you kind of, Elvis said, you're caught in a trap, right? You're caught in a trap. You can't walk out. Because the more tired you get, the more coffee you drink, the more coffee you drink, the more tired you get, and so you're back and forth. And you got to drink fluids. If you really want to get your energy back, you got to drink more water. Because there's a part of your brain that controls hunger, and there's a part of your brain that controls thirst. And so if you're hungry, many times you're not hungry, you're thirsty. And so what you need to do then is drink more water. It'll curb your appetite, but water will also give you the energy that you're craving. And that's why you're drinking the coffee to begin with. It's a bowel stimulant, like we said, so that can be a good thing if you're constipated, but the key is if you're constipated, you should be eating a better diet. And also, as a chiropractor, we always check the nerve supply to organs. So, for example, if you have an injury in your low back, that's the nerve that might cause back pain, leg pain, hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain. It's the same nerve that controls your colon, sex organs, and bladder. So if you have a pinched nerve in the low back, you might have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, urinary problems, sexual problems, performance issues. It's a family show, we'll keep it clean. So pinched nerves in the low back not only can affect pain, but they can affect the organs. And every nerve in the body controls an organ. You can have a pinched nerve to your pancreas, your spleen, your kidneys, your gallbladder, your adrenal glands, your heart, your lungs, your diaphragm, your stomach. So this is the basis of, and this is the trend, by the way, in healthcare, if you want to know what a trend is. The trend is going toward getting to the cause of the problems. We talked a couple of weeks ago about the opioid crisis and how hospitals are now saying you have to offer alternatives to opioid treatments before you give opioids. Now, sometimes opioids are necessary. I'm not against them, but we have to offer an alternative to the opioid treatments. And one of those alternatives that the hospitals now are required to offer as one of the options is chiropractic care. Pretty cool, huh? So for 100 plus years, we chiropractors have been saying we are really good at getting rid of pain. And there's I don't know how many studies out there showing that chiropractic should be the primary treatment for back pain. And now finally, it's becoming standard, which makes me excited. Hopefully they'll do it now. It's the rules. They have to do it. So we want to make sure that we get to the cause of your problem. So if you're constipated, maybe you have a pinched nerve to your bowels. Maybe you need to change your diet. Maybe you have spasms. Your stomach can spasm and push up against your diaphragm. And if the stomach spasms, the whole bowel spasms. And there's a way we can do it. We adjust or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, many times that gets the bowels to release. Works really good on kids. Gosh, kids are smarter than us. They respond so much faster than we do. So you want to make sure that you're getting the body functioning normally, not just treating the symptom, but getting to the cause. And that's the problem that most people have. They never thought about the cause of their problem. So talking about coffee, I digressed there for a second. If you're going to drink coffee, organic only. This way you can avoid the pesticides. I would prefer you do organic decaf, which still has caffeine, by the way. Decaffeinated coffee doesn't have no caffeine. It has less than the original brand. So if you go into one of these fancy $8 cup of coffee coffee shops and order a decaf, and you think their decaf tastes so much better, there's a reason for that. Because their plain coffee, their original coffee, whatever the word is, has a lot more caffeine than the stuff you would brew at home. So because it has so much more caffeine, we then take a little bit out, we call it decaffeinated, and the coffee that you bought at the fancy shop, the decaf many times has more caffeine than the regular coffee that you made at home. Did you follow that? So the decaffeinated has more caffeine than the stuff you made at home, which is regular. Pretty wild, huh? So you really want to start considering not being duped by just terminology and phrases, because that's marketing. That's brilliant marketing. You bought it. I bought it for years. Decaffeinated, that means no caffeine, right? No, I was giving a lecture one time. Where was I? I think it was in Florida, Utah, I can't remember. And a guy came up to me and says, Dr. Joe, I work for a coffee industry. I said, really? He says, and you're wrong. And I figured, here comes a battle. And he talked about the coffee and how they decaffeinate it. Many times they use things like turpentine and formaldehyde to decaffeinate the coffee. He said, so if you're going to do coffee, you want to do organic decaf. He says that would be the healthiest choice. So right from the horse's mouth, I learned that. So don't be duped by things like that. And you have to drink a lot of water, because coffee is a diuretic and your body runs on fluid. We're about 80% water. So if you're not giving your body the right amount of water, you're going to dehydrate, and that can affect your muscles. That can affect pain. Again, we see pain patients all day, every day, my doctors and I. And so when patients come in our office, we tell them, listen, we want to give you the best chiropractic care possible. That's what our goal is. However, you're going to have to help a little bit. We want you to maybe take some supplements. At least, I tell people, take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Because coffee and the other foods are so acidic, you need to alkalize your system. And even if you eat a good diet, I take it every day, and I eat a great diet, I want to keep the body slightly alkaline. So if you're doing nothing else, at least, I'm begging you, please, take a good supplement. I recommend Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. The Super Greens alkalize the system. Good source of omega-3 fatty acids, good source of iodine to help your thyroid work. And then the Essential Source is like about, close guess, 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables. Then we add prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, a complete multivitamin. Tastes great, by the way, too. And so I take a scoop of each. I mix it with some coconut milk or almond milk, shake it up, drink it at least once a day. It's great for kids. Take a frozen banana, throw it in there, whip it up, make a little smoothie for the kids or for yourself. And it's unbelievable. I have every day, every single day, patients call us, email us. I run into them out in public, and they'll say, Dr. Joe, loving your green stuff, the Super Greens, the Essential Source. Oh, my gosh, that stuff's amazing. Why wasn't I taking this my whole life? And it helps the brain work better because it gives you the vital nutrients that your brain needs. So if nothing else, Super Greens and Essential Source. And you can get information on that on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world. And you can see, it says store. Under the store, you'll see several other supplements we have, but those are the two that I want to talk about today. Well, I could talk about the bowel cleanser, too. We have an intestinal cleanser. If your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, yes, I said a day, not a week or a month, it may not hurt to take some Dr. Joe's intestinal cleanser to kind of jumpstart things. So, folks, if you want to make an appointment, come see us. Again, offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and you can book an appointment online. You can call us. We accept everyone, people with insurance, people without insurance, car accidents, sports injuries. I've never seen a car accident ever where the car was damaged and the occupants weren't. And I get calls every day. Dr. Joe was in an accident, but I wasn't hurt. I'll say, okay, come see us anyway. We do an analysis, and 100% of the time, we find something wrong. And they say, wow, I didn't realize how sore it was there. Or they wait a few weeks, and then they say, Dr. Joe, I'm in so much pain. You were right. So I don't want to be right. I just want you to come in and see us. So make an appointment today, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world. The Super Greens, the Essential Source, also on Amazon, by the way, too, if you have an Amazon account. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day. Again, this is the show where we teach you how to naturally get well and stay well. That's our goal. We want you to get well and stay well. And we're talking today about your vices. The things that you do, your dirty little secrets, that are really having a major impact on your health in a bad way. And we talked a little bit ago about coffee and how bad coffee is. Now, you know, if you tune in, and I get this a lot, people tune into the show halfway through, or they have to get out of their car, or they have to leave, they can't listen to the whole show, which surprises me. How could someone not just make a reservation and listen to the whole show? However, it could happen. If you want to listen to this and hundreds of other shows, we have them on the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will get you set up for appointments if you want to, but you can also get set up to listen to the shows, and you can download them, send them to your friends, a lot of good information. I also videotape my live lectures, and if you've never been to a live lecture, they are a lot of fun because I get to show you things I can't show you on the radio, because so much of healthcare is physical, not chemical. So go to the website if you want to listen to shows, watch videos. You know, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because we're going to send out a lot of videos in the next few weeks, and you're going to want to watch them, real short ones, real quick ones, to keep you informed as to what you need to do to take care of your health. And that's you can do that on the website, drjoeesposito.com. So another vice. Not a lot of people do this anymore, but I got to cover it too, because some of you are still doing it, and it's smoking. And it's funny because this new study came out, and I actually like this study, and it says cigars contain more nicotine than cigarettes, and they're just as addictive. The study says that cigars could be as harmful and addictive and contain just as much, if not more, nicotine. Well, I don't know why that's a study, because what are cigarettes made of? Well, tobacco. What are cigars made of? Tobacco. So I don't know why this was like a thing that had to come out, because you're smoking tobacco. The team found that both they measured tobacco levels, and they found that the two methods they use, the level of nicotine delivered by small cigars is higher than those in cigarettes. Nicotine delivered by the small cigars is 1.25 milligrams per cigar as compared to 0.87 in cigarettes. Duh. This is a duh study. I mean, somebody spent money on this one, and I can't believe it. But I do want to make a point, because some people still believe that if they're doing cigars, it's better for them than cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette or a cigar in my life. Never had a puff in my life, because I just can't stand the smoke. And that's a deal breaker for me. You know, people talk about dating deal breakers. Cigarette smoking is a deal breaker. There's no way I can tolerate that. Perfume's another one. I don't like unpleasant smells. Even perfumes are yucky. But anyway, people say, well, I smoke cigars because it's healthier. Not true. Nicotine is the reason why people smoke cigars, just as they do with cigarettes. Now, they both have tobacco. I don't know why you would think there was anything else going on. But here's a kicker. I've had a lot of patients come to me over the years, 34 years now? 33 years I've been in practice. And a lot of people have come to me that are addicts. Now, it could be cigarettes, could be coffee, could be alcohol, could be other things, gambling. And inevitably, 100% of the time, when I sit down with these addicts, I look at their diet, and their diet is just horrendous. Now, some people have bad diets, and they're not addicts. Depends how your brain works. But if you have an addictive personality and you have a bad diet, the chances skyrocket that you're going to be more likely to become addicted. So one of the things we do with addicts is we try to get their life straightened out from a health standpoint. As a chiropractor, our team of doctors, we always check the nerves to make sure there's no pinched nerves, because pinched nerves put stress on the body. And then many times when you're under stress, chemical, emotional, physical stress, you want an outside stimulus, such as your addiction, your addiction of choice, alcohol, cigarettes. And so if we can take the stress off the body, we reduce a lot of the physical stress, and then we get the diet straightened out, we reduce the chemical stress, you're better able to deal with the emotional stress. And so you're better able to deal with your addiction. Then we get them on good nutrients. Most people, not just addicts, but most people are severely depleted when it comes to nutrition. And so I tell people, if you do nothing else, please start taking Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. There's the minimum amount of nutrients you should be putting in your body. And if you don't know what those are, they're on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Also available on Amazon if you have an Amazon account. And it alkalizes your system. It gives you the minimum amount of nutrients that you need. It's close to about 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables in every scoop of Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Relatively inexpensive, just over $2 a day. And people report all the time that they save so much money because they're not eating as much. They have more energy. They're making more money. They say, Dr. Joe, I can't afford. I had 2 people just yesterday say, I can't afford not to take these supplements. I said, you're right. You're making money on a deal. So they just rock. And they're on the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. So if you are addicted to coffee or cigarettes, chances are you're depleting your body of nutrients, and you need to replenish those nutrients. And that's why, another reason why, you should be taking Super Greens and Essential Source. Now, years ago, when I talked about cigarettes, I made a mistake. I have to do a correction. I said there's 100 billion free radicals in a puff of cigarettes. Now, a free radical is a molecule kind of like Pac-Man. It eats through things. And so I said there was 100 billion free radicals, and I was wrong. I have to apologize. I have to retract my statement from years ago. It's 100 trillion free radicals per puff of cigarettes. And it's not just firsthand smoke. It's also the secondhand smoke that you're inhaling if you're around smoke. And I'm old enough to remember smoking on airplanes and smoking in restaurants and smoking in bars. And it's wonderful that that doesn't happen anymore. Because I remember one time I flew somewhere. I can't remember. Probably going to give a lecture. And I was right in front of the smoking section. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's one aisle between us, or one seat, not even a seat between us, the back of the seat. What makes the cigarette smoke stay in the back? I said, at least put a fan in there or something. But anyway, that's a thing of the past. For those of you who don't know, that was allowed at one time. But 100 trillion free radicals. Now, these substances damage the lung tissue by chemically reacting with what's called the DNA, the cell membranes, and the molecules in the lungs. They actually damage and destroy the DNA. When the DNA is altered, it can start to replicate, but it doesn't replicate healthy cells. It replicates abnormal cells, and that's called cancer. Scientists believe the only reason cigarette smoking isn't more dangerous is the fact that the lungs protect themselves with an antioxidant called glutathione, and that's in the fluid that bathes the airwaves. So glutathione is the master antioxidant, which kind of gobbles up the free radicals. The antioxidant reacts with the reactive species in tobacco smoke, and it helps prevent some of the damage. So again, if you have a bad diet, you're not getting enough glutathione. If you're not getting enough glutathione, you're more susceptible to the damage. This natural protective response actually allows people to smoke and not just drop dead right away. Without it, smokers would suffer significantly more damage. So the studies indicate that smokers who succumb to lung cancer and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease are probably made more vulnerable to these problems because of the infection that compromises the lungs' immune defenses. So I'm not saying you should take glutathione to help if you smoke. I'm saying you should quit smoking. But if you have a good diet, you're going to have a lot of glutathione. And if you have a lot of glutathione, then your body is going to be healthy all the way around, not just with cigarette smoke, but with everything. And where do we get glutathione from? You got to give the body the raw materials to produce the glutathione. And where do you get the raw materials? From a good diet, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. How about Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source? There's other supplements I may recommend. When a patient comes in our office, we put together a nutrition protocol along with the chiropractic protocol because we want to get you well as fast as possible for the least amount of money. And so if we can get the chemical and the physical, and then we check your digestion. If you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, we may have to massage or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm to fix, hopefully, the acid reflux and the heartburn so you can digest your nutrients more efficiently so that you can be healthier. So my triad is a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. That's what I want you to consider when it comes to healthcare. Okay, with me so far? Good. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about your addictions. Now, let me cover this real quick, kind of along that topic. I want to talk about sugar. That's a big addiction. But the sugar industry, this is an article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Sugar industry hid connection to heart disease for decades. So back in the 60s, they started doing research on sugar, and they found that it can actually increase your risk of heart disease. Well, they said, that's not good. We paid for this research, and it's saying that sugar is bad for us. When they found that the data suggested that sugar was harmful, the industry started pointing the finger at fats. And a recently published study in the journal PLOS Biology, researchers from the University of California at San Francisco claim that newly uncovered historical documents indicate the industry never disclosed the findings of its work and effectively misled the public to protect its economic interests. They knew something was wrong. They did nothing to fix it. And, in fact, they even hid the studies. So after examining the sugar industry's internal documents, the University of California, San Francisco researchers said that in 1968, the Sugar Research Foundation, which has organizational ties to the Sugar Association, they're all kind of in bed together, funded animal research to explore the link between sugar consumption and cardiovascular disease. And guess what? They found a direct connection as well. So these things were hidden from back in the 60s. So here we knew this stuff was bad, funded by the sugar industry, saying it was bad, and now you're finally realizing it's there. So when it comes to nutrition and health, I like to look at the things that have stood the test of time. It's not a fad. It's not a high protein or low carb diet or high carb diet or all fat diet or eat the bacon diet. How about the things that have withstood the test of time? And those would be fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Those are the 4 foods that have always withstood the test of time. Now, even within the 4 food groups, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, there's some issues. Some people have allergies to tree nuts. Some people get headaches if they eat almonds. Okay. But those are the ones that, generally speaking, are going to do the best for you. And if you can make most of your diet consist of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, you're going to be in good shape. Now, you're thinking to yourself, Dr. Joe, I want to do everything you say, but I don't know what to eat. Apparently, you're a surfer, dude. And I say, well, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and right on the front page, it says sign up for Dr. Joe's newsletter. It's free. We never give out your email address. And we'll send you little tips on health and wellness constantly, not constantly, but regularly. We'll send you little video clips. We'll send you clips of radio shows when they're released. We'll send you clips of videos of lectures that I've done. And I'm also going to send you a link to a lecture that I did called, So What Can I Eat? And it's about an hour of me yapping about what to eat. Breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks. You're going to a party. You're raising kids. You're going out with your boss. You don't know what to have. All there, all simple, all my gift to you. You don't even have to buy anything for it. It's just yours. So go to the website, sign up for the newsletter right now. Also, if you have questions, send them to me through the website. I'm more than happy to answer your questions for you, because sometimes I'll do a show and say, Dr. Joe, you said this, and what about that? And happy to do that. Also, follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. When you go to my website, you start watching the videos on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, because we send out a lot of good information, and we're going to send out a lot of little video clips that you can sit and watch. Maybe we're going to try to keep them under 10 minutes, so hopefully up 2 minutes, some of them, and just bombard you with little tips of healthcare so that you can get well and stay well. And sometimes we run specials on Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, my other supplements, my intestinal cleanser, my seasonal booster, which is great. If I have a cold or a flu, I take that. It helps fight viruses, germs, and bacteria. There's a product we have that helps with the immune system. I find it helps stimulate white blood cell production. That's there as well. I take that every day in the winter, by the way, because I want to keep my immune system as strong as I can. And it's very rare I get sick, which is kind of nice. People say, do you ever get sick? Sometimes I do when I stress myself out. But generally speaking, I don't. Flu season comes and goes, and people are like, didn't you get the flu? Nope, didn't get the flu this year. Can't remember. I don't know if I guess I had the flu at some point. I remember being a kid. So it's just kind of cool that we have all these tools for you. And if you don't use them, it's your fault. Don't come crying to me when you say, well, Dr. Joe, I'm sick all the time. Dr. Joe, I've got acid reflux. Dr. Joe, I've got neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain. I'm an addict. I'm hooked on cigarettes. I'm hooked on alcohol. I'm hooked on coffee. I've given you the tools so that you can take responsibility for your own health. And if you don't want to, that's okay. I can't make you do it. But trust me, the patients that do, and I've been doing this for 33 years, tens of thousands of people we've reached out to, they all say the same thing. Why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I suffer so long? Why did I waste so much time and money and health when it was so easy to get well and stay well? That's what we want to do. So, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. You can go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. We, again, offices Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, because people always say, well, you're a little far from me. Well, now we're not anymore. And we plan on opening a few more offices, too, by the way. We accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. I've never seen a car accident ever where the car was damaged, where the occupants weren't. So you really want to get checked out, whether the accident was yesterday or 50 years ago. And the sooner you get to us, the better, because this is a little game the insurance companies play. The insurance companies will say, well, you got in an accident 2 weeks ago and you didn't go see a doctor, so how do we know you were even hurt? Well, if you read the orthopedic research, it says that you can have up to 6 months before the pain sets in. So you can have an injury and not know it because you don't have pain. That's why you want to get checked right away before the pain sets in or prevent it from getting worse. So anyway, make the appointment. Stop suffering needlessly. Don't be one of those patients that, Dr. Joe, I've been meaning to come see you for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and I'm finally getting around to it. And I see people like that literally every day. And it's like, why don't you just get off your fanny now and come see us? drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, make an appointment. We're going to help get you well. So we're talking about addiction today. And another addiction that a lot of you have is sugar. And this is probably the most addictive food there is. Well, not addictions, I guess. Vices. I should call it the vices. That's what I decided to call this show. So all your health vices that you're doing. And sugar is a big one. It turns out that some animal studies show that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Wow. That's heavy-duty stuff. Our taste buds have really become hijacked by these hyper-sweet foods that we eat literally all day, every day. And we've lost our ability to appreciate good foods. Oh, I should say natural foods, real foods. So I think maybe the most practical and radical thing you can do to reverse the obesity epidemic, to help you enjoy natural foods again, is to cut back on the sugar you eat. And you do that by putting the fork down. You're digging your grave with your spoon and your fork. Most people are. So why is it a toxin? Little bit of sugar, you have an apple, you have an orange, it's not going to kill you. But we're taking what some doctors call a pharmacological dose that most people consume. The average kid eats about 34 teaspoons, that's about a half a pound of sugar, every day. And much of it comes from things like sodas and high fructose corn syrup. Now, if you've listened to this show before, you've heard me rail on high fructose corn syrup. It's not the same as sugar. It's substantially worse. So when you're taking these pharmacological doses, now keep in mind, white flour, honey, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, they all sugar categories. They make us fat. They make us sick. They switch on obesity genes and diabetes genes. Now, in your DNA, you have genes, and genes control everything. Your eye color, your personality, if you're going to go bald or not. So a lot of it, everything that happens in your body is controlled by the genes, and too much sugar can switch on the genes that can cause us to start gaining weight. Now, if you have a bad diet, that's going to also contribute to your weight. This is only going to facilitate your weight gain or facilitate your diabetes. In fact, they turn on all the chronic disease genes in your body. The body can only process so much sugar. And there's a big debate now. High protein, high carb, low carb. If you're going to eat carbs, they have to be in a whole food form. And a whole food is something that is the way it was picked from the ground. So if I eat an apple, the apple has fiber, and the fiber is going to push the sugar through my colon. I get a slow release of sugar. If I drink apple juice, all that sugar is going to be absorbed at once. It responds metabolically very differently. That's why I never say you should drink fruit juices. Are they sweet? Yeah. Do they taste good? Yeah. Should you eat them? No. And this is the cool part, that if you're really serious about this, and once you cut back on your sugars, and certainly cut out all your processed sugars, you get to the point where you don't even crave it anymore. And I'm at that point in my life. And let me tell you, it's a good place to be. It took me a long time because I used to be really fat. I have stretch marks on my chest, the back of my legs. So I know fat. I can say the F word. And I know fat and I know sugar addiction as well as you do. However, you can get over your addiction just like any other of your vices that we're talking about today. So what happens is sugar stimulates a part of your brain called the nucleus accumbens, and it releases dopamine into the body. And dopamine is a chemical, a neurotransmitter that gives you pleasure. So you're getting high from it. So why wouldn't you want to eat it? Get you high. It's cheap. It's accessible. It's legal. Gosh, I want to get high. I want to get high 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And that's what sugar does. And that's why it's so hard to cut it out. The only way to cut it out is to cut it out. You ever been to an AA meeting? Can they have a drink every now and then if you're an alcoholic? No, you can't. Because a little bit of alcohol triggers that sensation in your body and you're off the wagon and you want to keep drinking. The same thing happens with sugar. I don't know why we have SA, Sugar's Anonymous. Because you can't have a little bit because you're going to fall right back into the trap. And I know that because if I eat sugar. Not a while ago, I was up in New York and I was on a lecture tour and I had a bagel. It was a vegan bagel. And New York bagels, if you never had one, are just amazing. And it was hot. It was fresh out of the oven. And it was amazing. And I ate it. And the next day, all I wanted was more bread, more sugar. And I recognized it right away. And I said, oh, my gosh, what did I just do? And so then it took me a few days to detox, come off my sugar craving. And then I was better again. So you can do this if you cut them out. You can't cut back on sugar, unfortunately. Well, you should cut back on sugar, but when you truly cut it out is when you start making major progress when it comes to health. So once you're over it all, you still may have that addictive personality, kind of like I do. And just be careful with sugar, folks, because a lot of times you're a parent, you're a caregiver, you're a nanny. Well, we call my grandparents Nanny and Upa, my German ones. And you want to give the kid a treat. You're not giving the kid a treat. You're making the kid an addict. Oh, stop, Dr. Joe. We're just going to have a little bit of ice cream. Nothing wrong with a little bit of ice cream. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. So, okay, here's the thing. Have one scoop of ice cream and stop and see if you can stop the next day and the next day and the next day from eating any sugars. And if you can, you're better than me because I have more of an addictive personality when it comes to sugar. If you can do it, then you can have an ice cream every now and then. But realize that you have a problem. What's the first rule in Alcoholics Anonymous? You have to admit you have a problem. What do? You stand up, hi, I'm Joe, and I'm an alcoholic. You have to admit you have a problem before you can face it. And a lot of you are not admitting it. And a lot of you come into our offices. Again, we're chiropractors, and people come from all over the world to come see us. And I give lectures all over the world. Corporations hire me all the time to come in and do wellness motivation seminars. And by the way, my team of doctors are also available for lectures. Not just me, but my team of doctors are available too if you need a speaker. And everywhere I go, I hear the same stories. So it's nothing new. And if you come to us as a patient and you have neck pain or back pain or shoulder pain or numbness or sciatic pain, and you want to get over that, we might be able to give you the best chiropractic care in the world. But if you're doing things that are irritating the nerves, you're doing coffee, which is an acid, you're doing sugar, which is an acid, you're smoking cigarettes, which is an acid, you're going to irritate the nerves, and it's going to be a lot slower getting well, and you may never get to the full potential that you have if you don't start taking care of yourself chemically. That's why at least, again, I'm going to beg you again, at least do Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're powders. Take a scoop of each. I mix it with coconut milk or almond milk because I don't do dairy products. Shake it up and drink it at least once a day. Now, if I have a big event in my life, if I'm going on a hot date, if I'm going hiking, if I'm going to go give a couple of lectures, if I'm flying, if I'm going to put my body under stress, good or bad, I'm going to take a double dose of the Super Greens and the Essential Source. And it's pretty amazing stuff. And it's great for kids because so many times kids are not getting the right nutrients in their bodies. And so what we have to do is we have to get them. I'll take it and I'll mix a frozen banana or some frozen fruit with it and then make a smoothie out of it. So at least the Super Greens and the Essential Source. Then more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Get your spine checked. Stop suffering needlessly. The back pain, the neck pain, the shoulder pain, the headaches. If you've ever been in a car accident, get it fixed. Most people are suffering needlessly. And every single day, my team of doctors and I have the same conversation. Why are people just not lining up out? And sometimes they do. Line up outside the door, beating the door down to get in. I don't know. Do what we say. Get the chiropractic, get the nervous system working, get the digestive system working, pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, take the fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and see what happens. And if I'm wrong, hey, I'm wrong, so what? But if I'm right, which I am, you'll be very happy with that decision. Now, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. We would love the opportunity to be your doctor. So if you'd like to make an appointment, it's drjoeesposito.com or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world. Listen to archive radio shows, subscribe to my YouTube channel, watch the videos we have there. Again, it's all free. Sign up for my newsletter, no charge. I want to give you the information that you need to get well and stay well. And that's why the website is there 24 hours a day. You can order the Super Greens, the Essential Source, the Intestinal Cleansers, the Seasonal Boosters. All there on the website to keep your body healthy. Folks, we really want the opportunity to be your doctor. So again, the website, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show. We'll catch you next time. Friends about the show. We'll catch you next time. Friends about the show. We'll catch you next time. Friends about the show. We'll catch you next time. Friends about the show. We'll catch you next time. Friends about the show. We'll catch you next time.